we will have a dedicated and a separate Q&A session just for you guys. If you have any doubts, if you have to clarify anything, just feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we are more than happy to help you out. The Q&A session, guys, will be happening towards the end of the webinar. So if you are just joining in, just make sure that you stay with us until the end of the webinar, and we'll make sure to clarify all your doubts. And in the meantime, a little bit about our social media platforms. We'll be dropping all the links to our social media in the chat. So we have various platforms as of now, predominantly on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So we have a following of over 20,000 people valuing into our social media, and we will make sure to keep you updated, keep you posted on the intricate boundaries of Canadian immigration. If you are interested, guys, just feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms, and we will keep you posted. So enough of me, let's just dive right into the webinar for today on Canadian PR pathways. So I'm going to hand over the session to Niran Marshall Perera, and I hope you guys have a productive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranisha. Hi, everyone. So I warmly welcome you to the this webinar on Canadian PR pathways. So as Ranisha said, my name is Niran. So the in this nearly in 1 hour's time, I'll try to dive you into the possible PR pathways and provide you as much information as possible. So just a background, I'm an immigrant. I came from Sri Lanka, then I became a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Then later on, I went on to become a barrister and solicitor accredited by the Law Society of Ontario. So in those rules and enough about myself and the organization. So let's dive into the webinar. So just give me a few seconds. I'll just share the screen so you all can see the webinar. Okay, hope you all can see my screen. So the right. So the we'll first start with the few questions that the most of the candidates face in terms of postgraduate work permit. So day in, day out, I've seen many fellow Sri Lankans making mistakes at the postgraduate work permit stage, especially there are rules. It's not like, yes, it is an inherent right given to a student and the family member, but if you do not make the proper application, your application can be denied. So firstly, you cannot legally work after you receive a letter of completion and transcript without applying for postgraduate work permit. For an instance, let's say if you receive the letter of completion and transcript today, you cannot work tomorrow without applying for postgraduate work permit. A lot of people do not know this, so that's why I just want to bring it to your notice. Then the other thing, it's very important that you provide the employment confirmation letter with duties and other corroborative evidence when applying for spouse open work permit. So sometimes people think, okay, I just have to provide the I do not need to provide an employment letter of the student for spouse to get the work permit. So if you go into this the link IRCC links with regard to the providing open work permits of family members, you will see that it is categorized under two streams. The first one, high-skilled worker. The second one is low-skilled worker. So it's not a must for you to have a high-skilled job for your spouse to get an open work permit. It can be a low-skilled job as well. So if you go inside, here it'll mention that you need not to have a high-skilled job. It can be the responsibilities of tier 4 and 4. It is based on the public policy where IRCC has reduced the requirement of having a skilled job, but it's very important that you demonstrate that your spouse is working when your spouse apply for a work permit. So for an instance, let's say now A is the student, A apply for postgraduate work permit, IRCC will give it. Let's say B is the spouse. So it's very important that A has a job for B to get the open work permit. A lot of people think that, okay, that's not a requirement. It is a requirement. It need not to be a skilled one. It can be an unskilled one. And on top of that, a lot of people make the fundamental mistake of applying together. Yes, in some cases, people have been successful by applying together. But if you notice this here, who is not eligible at this time, go to the last bullet. It says, you are applying for PGWP, but have not received a positive decision on PGWP at the time the decision of your family member application is made. So if you apply together, you are giving the right for the immigration officer to reject your application. So that is something that you need to guard against. So when you're applying for postgraduate work permit and spouse open work permit, make sure that the student has employment confirmation letter and salary slips when spouse applying for his or her open work permit extension. So then I want to talk about the public pressure, because a lot of people get in touch with us and they ask, okay, whether the IRCC will come up with any like the work permit extensions like they did during the COVID period. So there is a lot of public pressure going around. For an instance, like if you see the province of Manitoba, where the immigration minister, Mark Miller, last week has approved Manitoba's request to extend the temporary resident status for potential nominees. So likewise, if you see yesterday, we see that there were protests around PEI where they wanted to extend the work permit. So there is a public outcry across the country to extend the postgraduate work permit and other expiring work permits. Whether it's going to be implemented by provinces like Ontario, British Columbia, we have to wait and see. It might happen, it might not happen. So you cannot bank on that. You have to plan your process because the work permit extensions are not guaranteed. Because if you remember, Mark Miller said like earlier that they are not going to give postgraduate work permit extensions. So whatever that comes down the line is a bonus. So you cannot rely on that. So then we will move on to the other famous question, whether the IRCC going to reduce whether they will stop giving permanent residence because of the election, whether next year, 2025, October, we have the federal election, whether the IRCC will not give any the new permanent residents. But if you see the IRCC immigration plan, it is set in stone, right? So if you see for year 2024, 2025, and 2026, they have already made plans. And in year 2024, they are planning for 485,000. 2025, 500,000. 2026, 500,000. So for next 2 years or so, you are safe. You need not to worry about IRCC making changes based on the political environment, because they have clearly said this is our plan. And the economic, like if you go to the breakdown, the economic is where the most of you all will try to get the PR. You see 281,000 plus in 2024 and more than 300,000 in both 2025 and 2026. So that means we have enough room. It is if we plan our process well, we can become one of these 300,000. It's huge. 300,000 is absolutely huge. So therefore, it's need just a bit of planning. That's what we are going to talk next. So then when it comes to PR pathways, there are two major streams. First is the federal stream. The federal stream is irrespective of the province. So I see that a lot of people like joining in from British Columbia, Ontario, Nova Scotia, Manitoba. So irrespective of where you're located, you can get the PR under federal stream. So we will discuss about the federal stream. And then the next option is the provincial nominee program. So if you're unable to get the PR under federal stream, your best bet will be the provincial nominee program. So as I said, within 1 year, I won't be able to cover all the provinces in detail, but I'll try to cover some of them, so that will provide you some light into this. So when it comes to federal pathways, there are 3 main categories which operates under express entry. First one is federal skilled worker stream. So, and the second one, federal skilled trades and Canadian experience class. So let's quickly dive into the pool of the IRCC. So then you can see that of late, IRCC was only having general draws, right? So they did not have they were like doing the general draws, or before that, they were doing no specific, no program specified. So it was either general draw or the no program specified. So therefore, these streams under like the federal skilled worker, federal skilled trades, Canadian experience class is not functioning at the moment, unfortunately. But if you remember, the immigration minister a couple of weeks ago mentioned about the domestic draws. The domestic draws is a new term to Canadian immigration vocabulary, because they have not specified what they meant by domestic draws. It can be like the TRPR program, it can be Canadian Experience Class program, or it can be a new program altogether, right? So but just to give you an understanding about the express entry programs, these are the 3 main programs. And if you go to this compare all programs tab, you will see the differences between Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Worker Program, and Federal Skilled Trades. So in Canadian Experience Class, you will see the language requirements, which is, if it is in tier 01, the requirement is CLB 7, that is Canadian Language Benchmark 7. And then if it is in tier 2 or 3 occupation, you need CLB 5. These are the minimum requirements, right? So, but as you know, the point system works in a way where whoever has the higher language, like the proficiency, will get more score. So the federal skill program, you need CLB 7 minimum. And in the federal skill, you need CLB 4 for speaking and 5 for speaking and listening, and CLB 4 for reading and writing. Then when it comes to the, just give me 1 second. Okay, right. Yeah, so when it comes to type of level of work experience, in Canadian work experience, you need in an occupation listed in 1 or more of these tiers. So it can be combined occupations. Sometimes people like they would ask like like, can I work like 6 months as a chef and 6 months as an accountant and combine both together and get the Canadian work experience? Yes, you can do that, as long as your experience it's in tier 0, 1, 2, 3. You can do it, because like here it's mentioned, Canadian work experience in an occupation listed in 1 or more of these NOC tiers. So you can combine work experience and still make the Canadian work experience of 1 year. Then federal skilled worker program, you would need the work experience in one of the occupations 0, 1, 2, 3. And then similarly in the skilled trade, there are a certain number of identified occupations like technical trades, general trades, then the occupations in natural resources and related production. Then if you go down, you will see chefs, cooks, butchers, bakers, likewise. Amount of work experience, Canadian experience class, you just need 1 year within the last 3 years. It's very important, 1 year within last 3 years. Then federal skilled worker, you need minimum of 1 year within last 10 years. Then skilled trades, 2 years within last 5 years. So the job offer is not a must in the Canadian experience class and the federal skilled worker, but in the federal skilled trade, it is required. So you need to have valid job offer or certificate of qualification, so which is normally issued by the provincial or the federal body, which is applicable for skilled trade like electrician, plumbing, welding, and so on. So the education, even though it is not mentioned for Canadian experience class and the federal skilled trade, the higher education that you will have, the better score you will get. So even though it is mentioned, it's not a requirement, but as you know, yeah, it's a points-based system. So if you do not have education, it will be difficult for you to get into the range where you will be invited, right? So that's the difference between the several programs that operates under express entry system. Now we'll come to the business end. Business end means recently, not recently, but some time ago, IRCC introduced categorized draws, where they have identified certain categories which are in demand. So these categories are French language proficiency, healthcare occupation, science, technology, engineering, math, which is commonly known as STEM, trade occupations, transport occupations, agriculture, and agri-food occupations. So now IRCC basically see what they're saying is, if you do not have the general if you do not have the score to come under general streams, that's not the end of the world. We have lesser point required draws under category based system. So it's very important to see what are these categories are. So let's dive in to that. So if you go down here, you will see find out who's eligible for each category, right? So we'll start with the French language. French language, whoever is able to get CLB 7 in French language gets qualified for French language draw. So if you see the IRCC, just one second, let me pull that up. Okay, so if you see the French language draws, right, the scores are very low. In April 2024, you only need 410. And it went down to 336 back in February, right? So you need not to have 529 if you know French, right? So some people I personally know, they are trying to learn the French language, learn the French language, and then get into this pool. So that's not a bad idea, right? It's not the end of the world if you are if age is not in your favor, if education is not in your favor, if you have language difficulties, then because once you get the PR from any of these streams, they will not ask questions about whether you got it from French language, whether you got it from transportation, it doesn't matter. So for myself, even though I was a practicing lawyer, at that time, I did not have experience as a lawyer because it's very difficult because in Sri Lanka, the lawyers are paid in cash, right? So it's very difficult to show the experience. So I came as a supervisor where I worked in a financial institution as a supervisor for more than 3 years, but I have never worked as a supervisor. It's just for the PR purposes that we have to demonstrate. So the French language, if you all have any sort of if you have done it for GCO levels, A levels, or even in primary or secondary education, you can give it a try because the scores are very, very low. So you can have competitive advantage over that. So then when it comes to the healthcare occupations, right? So then here, what they require is you need to they have identified certain the occupations, which is 35 occupations under healthcare stream. So if you can come under any of these occupations identified, you can give it a try under the the healthcare draw. So the good part about this is you only need 6 months. So you only need 6 months of experience. So I have one applicant. She was working in one of the premier banks in Sri Lanka as a bank manager. And then she came to Canada and she was doing a job as an office assistant at a chiropractic practice, right? So then she was able to come into the health category draw under the other assisting occupations in support of health service because she was an office admin. So if you go to this 33109 here, right, 33109, and if you see the examples here, it's mentioned chiropractic office assistant. She's not an healthcare professional. She happened to be an office assistant at a healthcare facility. So that itself paved the way for her to get the PR under healthcare. So in this case, you have to be really creative and you have to see, okay, what is my best bet? So I need not to be a healthcare professional because if you see that here, lot of the occupations are there which is not highly technical. Anybody, some people can do this, right? So if you have some sort of a healthcare knowledge or some sort of an experience in healthcare, you can give it a try in the healthcare system as well. So then okay, right. So if you see the healthcare here, the scores are low too. So 422 in February 14, and then 431, 463, 476. So the 422, it's highly obtainable target, right? So it's not that difficult. So you can target if you are able to find employment, like as I said, like the particular lady that I spoke about, she did not have the healthcare experience, no education whatsoever, nothing, because she was an office assistant, but just happened to be lucky that she was in the right spot. So likewise, when you're looking for employment, you need to identify the certain category that you're going for and then go for it. So then the next one, like we are going to talk about, is the STEM category. STEM category is, as I said, this the most famous one. Here they have 24 occupations, which expands from architects, computer engineers, the software engineers, civil engineers, cybersecurity specialists. And if you go down, you see urban and land use planners, web designers. So again, the requirement is 6 months under past 3 years, within the past 3 years. So if you put STEM here, you'll see the scores are comparatively low than the general stream. The general stream, as you know now, it's at 529. But the STEM, you would need only 491, and we had a draw in December, which went to 481. So if you have like, sometimes I have people like this is another story. He was working as a software engineer, but came to Canada, could not find an employment, worked as a security supervisor. But luckily, since he was a software engineer back home before coming to Canada, it was within the last 3 years. So he was able to claim points under STEM category and apply for PR. So likewise, even if you do not have a job right now in this particular field, your back home experience can be counted. So then you have to identify, if you have some sort of an experience in these identified categories, you can try under that. So then the next one, what we're going to talk about is the trade occupations. Trade occupations, this is again the skilled trades. They have identified certain skilled trades. So like I have like one applicant, she the student was 32 years of age, and the spouse was like 42 years of age. So applying under general category is not a possibility. Not a possibility at all, because as you know, after the age of 30, you lose points. So this guy has lost 65 points. That cannot be covered. No way you're going to do that, right? So even though he was a banking professional, has an MBA, there's no way that they're going to do it. What he did was he went to one of the shops nearby, and they had a vacancy, and he started working as a carpenter. Here also, what you would need in past 3 years, just 6 months. So he worked as a carpenter and got the requisite experience. And I have another person who is now currently in the process of like going through carpenter, because like the the commercial installers and so on, and the electricians, like these are licensed trades. So sometimes getting these trades is difficult. Getting the trade license is difficult. For an instance, electrician, you have like the Red Seal requires you certain amount of things to be done to get this license. So it's not that easy to get those licenses. But when it comes to carpenters and so on, it's not that difficult. So if you do not have the requisite score, then you just have to be creative. You don't mind just working as a carpenter if it gets you PR, because after you get the PR, you don't need to work as a carpenter. So even though he was a bank manager, he realized that, okay, there's no way that I can get the express entry draw just as a bank manager. I have to be creative just for the goodwill of my well-being of my family. I want to sacrifice my career and just be a carpenter for a year or so my family can get the PR and settle in Canada. Then once we settle in, we can proceed with our respective careers. So then if you see the trade draw, I'll try. You'll see the scores are low. So the trade occupations, 388. It went down to 388. And the latest one, which is in December, 425. So then the next category would be like the transport occupations again. So there are certain like the 10 occupations identified. Most common one is transport truck drivers. So again, as I said, if you do not have the requisite scope, no harm in becoming a truck driver for like a year or so just to get the PR, because you're paid well. You just need to get the license. If you have the driving skill, that's all you need. So getting the truck driver's license is difficult. It's not easy as just getting G1 or G2, right? So OG, it's a bit difficult, but it's not hard as just like, for instance, let's say if somebody who is age of 42, 38, 36, had no language capable proficiency test done in last 15 years or so, it might be easy for you to become a truck driver than doing CELPIP. You need to understand your strengths and weaknesses. If you are unable to get the CELPIP, like the CLB 9 or 10, that's not the end of the world. You can be creative and just still get the PR. You need to understand what you have, because there is no right or wrong answers which are applicable for each and everyone. For the mere fact that your friend got it under like the federal skilled, the general rule, that doesn't mean that you can get it too. It is at the end of the day, if you might have to be creative, because if you do not have the relevant education or language capability, you might have to look for an alternative to get it done. Right? So then the next category is the agriculture. So the here, right. One second. Okay. So the agriculture, if you see here, they have three NOCs identified. So the agriculture service contractors and the farm supervisors are the most common one. I have like one student who was from Nureli area, and she was like she has an agriculture degree, and she was working in a nearby farm before coming to Canada. So that she was able to apply under agricultural, like as a farm supervisor, because it only needs 6 months within the last 3 years. So the categorized rows can be your best bet in case if you are unable to go under general streams. So it's just that you go to these 6 categories, see whether you can come under any of those. So for an instance, by nature, you might not be able to fall under any of these, but you can create your opportunity. For an instance, how about becoming a truck driver? How about becoming a carpenter? That can be done. So as I explained, that can be done. So you need not to have the prior experience, education to back it up. You just have to have the willingness to be creative and willingness to be flexible just for 1 year or so until you get the PR. Then once you get the PR, floodgates will open. You can do whatever you want. So let's go into our presentation. So this one, I need to emphasize the importance of language, education, experience, and age, right? So a lot of people, like as soon as you come inside Canada, or like the as soon as possible. So you might not be late. If you can try today itself, you need to understand the importance of the language skill. Here, you see the federal skilled worker, you only need CLB 7. Canadian Experience Class, Tier 01, CLB 7, Tier 2, 3, CLB 5, and Federal Skilled Trade, Speaking and Listening, CLB 5, and Reading and Writing, CLB 4. These are the minimum requirements. So the mere fact that you have minimum requirements does not mean that you will have a higher score, because the higher the score, the more points you will get under the federal express entry system. So if you go down here, you will see that in terms of points for the education, that CLB 9 and 10 will have the highest points. If you are applying with a spouse, each band of 9 will give you 29 points, and each band of 10 will give you 32 points. So this is for like the difference between collectively the difference between CLB 9 and CLB 10 is 12 points. That can be the deal breaker. That can be the deal that takes you from 518 to 530, and which secures you the express entry invitation. So from the time you decide to move on with your PR pursuit, it's very important that you identify whether you are able to get the certain language score. It can be IELTS, it can be CELPIP, it can be PTE. It can be like there are no right or wrong answers. Sometimes people find IELTS easier because like they have done at the student stage and previously as well. some find it CELPIP easier, especially when it comes to writing. CELPIP have they give more scores than IELTS, because IELTS is really strict in writing. So you need to identify what works for you. There is, again, no right or wrong answers. What works for you, go with that. So then when it comes to the age, as I said, the age of 20 and 29 will give you the highest possible. Go with a spouse, 100 points, without spouse, 110. So then you will realize every year, if you apply with a spouse, you will lose 5 points, right? So if you are age, at the age of 37, you have already lost 40 valuable points. So then practically it is impossible for you to get into 529 without having like an LMIA or French language capability or so on. So then if it is not possible, that's not the end of the world. Those why the categories are there. That's why the categories are there, and that's why you need to be creative and looking into provincial nominee options. Just you need to understand, if you're about 35 or more now, the general category might be a challenge. So then you might have to look into provincial programs or to categorize those. Right. So then we'll come to the provincial nominee programs, as I said. So we'll start with the province of Ontario. So the majority of the registrants are from Ontario. So in Ontario, we have this the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program, where it is categorized under 3 main categories. The first one is the job offer category. So under job offer category, we have 3 streams. One is job offer foreign worker stream, and the other one job offer international student stream, and the other one is job offer in-demand skills stream. So if you go to this OINP website, you will see all the information about the job offer foreign worker stream and international stream and in-demand skills. So I'll quickly go through this, right? So under the job offer foreign worker stream, like you need to have a job offer from tier 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So and here it has to be full-time and permanent, and then you have your wage should be must meet or be higher than the median wage. It's very important to identify this difference, because here under the job offer stream, your wage, a lot of people get misunderstanding on this, because they are unable to meet because we will go to the international student stream. Notice the difference here. We need to be higher than the median wage level, or we need to match it. But in the student stream, you will see the difference. So then your employer needs to demonstrate that the position is urgently necessary to the employer's business, and work should be based in Ontario. So then you will see the applicant's requirements. And then if you go down here, you will see the OINP has requirements not only for the applicant, but also for the employer, right? So there are general requirements. You need to be in business for at least 3 years. Then if you see, then you'll see the revenue requirements, minimum of 100,000, minimum of 1 million if you are in GTA area, outside GTA 500,000, and then the employees requirement 5 Canadian citizen or permanent residence if it is in GTA, outside GTA 3 years, and then you have to submit the employer form. So if you go to the international student stream, this is particularly important for international students who have completed their programs, and you have to apply within 2 years. Very important. The 2 years time limitation is there. And if you see the wage level here, you see the job offer must meet or be higher than the low wage level, not the median wage level. So the foreign worker, it has to meet or be higher than the median wage. And if you see the international student, is just have to be higher than the low wage level. So if some of you are wondering what is this, like the median wage, what is this low wage, you can find out by going to the job bank, right? So Government of Canada Job Bank, just type whatever your occupation. Let's say you're a finance officer. So this is like coming under the bookkeeping, the accounting technician and bookkeeping in OC. Then you will see for Canada, what is the low wage, what is the median, what is the high. So if you go to the Ontario, then, sorry. here. So then let's say you're from Toronto area, you select the Toronto region, then you will see the low wage in Toronto is 16.55. If you're a federal skilled worker, you need, if you're international student, job offer stream, then you need to meet this. But if you're a foreign worker, you need to meet this. So there is a significant difference. If you do not meet the median wage under foreign worker stream, you will not qualify. So so then we'll go back again to our the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program. So here, then the next one is in-demand skill. This is particularly important. This is like, even if you do not have good score under the other two streams, you can still get the provincial nomination under the in-demand skills. So the in-demand skills, they have identified certain occupations. So the position offered can be in any location. So this can be in inside or outside GTA, and they have identified the occupations like home support workers, meat cutters, nursery and greenhouse laborers. Like these are not skilled jobs. Like, I mean, the highly these jobs can be performed by anybody, to be quite honest, right? So if you do not have the requisite score, then your best bet might be to find employment somewhere in these categories. And the good part about this, it can be anywhere in Ontario. So when it comes to the other categories that they have identified, the requirement is the position offered must be outside GTA. So it should be outside the city of Toronto, Durham, Halton, York, and Peel regions. For an instance, like people, I saw a lot of people joining from London. You have Maple, the famous, and it is very commonly known for like meat cutters and the product assemblers and so on. A lot of people try to get PR, because the good part here is you only need the work experience for 9 months only. You must have at least 9 months. You need not to have 12 months. So again, if your spouse is studying, and as an husband or like as a wife, you want to contribute to the family, you take occupation in any of these like in-demand skills, and that might pave the way for you to get the PR for the entire family. So it's just about being creative, because the industrial butcher or the meat cutter, you need not to have highly technical or like the conceptual skill to do it. It's just that you go and just hang in there for like 9 months. I mean, 9 months will not be enough, because you have to stay until you get your nomination. But that will provide you the path for you to get the PR. So then, if you come back to the Ontario, then the other two streams will be master's graduate stream and PhD stream. So let's go back to those streams here. This is for Ontario masters and PhD graduates. So if you're a graduate, like from any of these institutions, universities identified by the province of Ontario. So you will see Algoma, Brock, Carleton. Likewise, there are certain universities, right? So the certain universities are not there. For an instance, the famous one, like right now, the IBU International Business University is yet to appear here. So you will not qualify. Certain universities, you will have the opportunity, if you're a master's or a postgraduate student, to qualify. Then when you come down, you will see the Ontario have the other draw, which is like the skills and experience based category, which have human capital priority stream and skilled trade stream and French speaking skilled worker stream. So if you quickly dive into these, you will see human capital priorities. They basically have the tech draw and healthcare draw. So I will show you the numbers. These numbers are very low. So it operates with express entry, right? So then skilled trades, again, they have identified certain skilled trades. So if you are like falling under the skilled trades, you will be able to apply under OINP skilled trade program as well. Again, and they have the French speaking skilled worker stream as well. So I'll just show you the numbers, so then you will have a better idea. So human capital priorities, then the OINP targeted draw. This is for a tech draw, right? So if you just click on this, you will see these are the foreign workers skill. These are the skilled trade draw, where they identified the foreign worker job offer stream skilled trades. right? Certain occupations were identified, and it had iron workers, boiler makers, plumbers, and so on, where you were able to like just being a skilled trade person, and the score in this case was just 53. So it is highly attainable score. So it's just that and these jobs are not like as I said, it's highly skillful jobs, because you have bricklayers. Bricklayers, I know, like you need to just to have the particular skill, but it's not difficult to learn the art of bricklaying. I mean, for some people, as I said, it's easier than doing self-people IELTS or doing master's program. It's just that you have to be very creative on this. So if you go down, here you will see the OINP results for 2023. So then the foreign worker job offer stream has 1,122, and the international student 856. And you will see, you'll be surprised to see that the master stream has the highest number of nominations, which is 5,407. So this is the breakdown, just to get an idea. And good part, now earlier in 2023, they have restricted it to 16,000. But now they have increased it to 21,000. So you can expect more nominations in Ontario. It's just that you have to be creative and just be at the right spot at the right time. So I'll show you the few other draws as well. So this is the skilled trade, and then human capital priorities trade draw. The score requirement is 468 to 480. So if you have the technical, like if you're a software engineer, cybersecurity specialist, data scientist, web designer, this will be your best bet. You just have to be at 468. 468 is not a difficult score to attain. If you are in Ontario, if you have this experience, I mean, if you are even outside Ontario, wherever you may be, if you have these, like if you have experience in any of these NOCs, then you can create a profile and express entry and have a score between 468 to 480. You have the best bet of getting an invitation and the nomination under YNP, because this normally operates with the federal federal program STEM category. The STEM category, as you noticed, like earlier, into December, the cutoff was 481. So whoever not invited under 481 was invited under this OINP tech draw. So if you're the computer professional, this might be your best bet. So then, right, so if we go down further, right, so here, I want to show you the healthcare draw as well. So the healthcare occupations just required 72, and here you will see nurse, doctors, veterinarians, pharmacy technician assistants, massage therapists. So you have a good chance of getting an invitation under OINP. And if we go down to last year, I just want to show you here. So again, the score was 73. And in the federal system, healthcare occupations, the score was 379 and between 379 and 430. So again, if you are a healthcare professional, 379, it's very easy score to meet if you plan properly, right? So you have to just look into the respective program and then plan ahead, right? So here also, like you will see a lot of healthcare occupations, and the first one, as I said, the managers in healthcare. So managers in healthcare need not to be a healthcare professional. It's just like if you're a manager in an elderly care or like healthcare facility, and you can get duties matching with this NOC, and then have 379 and above, this might be your best bet. So then if you go to the other province, like the British Columbia, right? So I've seen a lot of people joining in from British Columbia. So I just want to provide you some information as well. So the British Columbia PNP programs, it operates under like few major categories. The first one, childcare. If you're early childhood educators and assistants, British Columbia is your best province right now, because Ontario, unfortunately, it is not in demand, but British Columbia, you have draws. So later on, I'll show you how you can get into that. So then we have the construction draw, where the construction the rows covers like plumbers, bricklayers, cabinet makers, gas fitters, carpenters, and the healthcare. As I said, the usual suspects like dentists, managers in healthcare, pharmacists, nurse, licensed practical nurses, and the social workers. That's a good part about it. In the British care, healthcare, social workers comes under there, right? So then if you are a social worker or social or community service worker, then still you come under the priority healthcare occupation. Then the technology, British Columbia has a technology, priority technology occupations as well. And it's broader than the Ontario list, because you will see the information system specialists, cybersecurity specialists are there in the Ontario, and the telecommunication carrier managers, and the broadcast technicians, audio and video recording technicians. It has a much broad scope than Ontario. Then we will have the veterinary care, where the veterinarians are also covered. So if you go back here, the BCPNP, it's operate in a manner like the points are like the, just 1 second. Let me go to the points distribution, so you will have a better idea. Go to the page number 51. Okay. 1 sec. Right here. Right. So the scoring sections for British BCPNP, it's divided between human capital factors and economic factors. Like the highest points is 200s, and the you will see that they have distributed points for directly work related 40 points, education 40 points, language 40 points, and I'm not a big fan of BCPNP just because of hourly wage plays a very important role. So if you have a higher hourly wage, then this might be the program for you. So once we go into the calculations, so you will understand it better. Then for the area also, they give 25 points. So if you go down further, you will see the directly related experience in occupation of BC job offer. You will get 5 years or more, 20 points, 4 years and less than 5 years, 16 points. Likewise, you will get points. And the good part is at least 1 year of directly related experience in Canada. So remember, directly related experience in Canada, not BC. So you'll get 10 points. If you're currently working in BC, you get another 10 points. So then the education, they have given, like for master's degree, if you have a UCW candidate student, you will get 22 points here. And then you will get the BC points as well. Post-secondary education completed in BC, you will be able to get these points as well. So then if you see the Canadian language benchmark, which is the language proficiency, here they have kept it up with 9. You need not to have CLB 10. If you get 9, you get the highest possible points. And if you have the additional language capability, you get another 10 points as well. So here is the deal breaker for me as far as I'm concerned, because maximum points are allocated for wage. So the less than 16 is not applicable anymore, because the BC minimum wage is about that. So the majority of the people struggle here. So because if your wage is like 25, which is like somewhat common nowadays, 25, you only get 10 points. So if somebody has hourly wage of 70 or above, will get 55 points. So it's very difficult to have an hourly wage if you are trying to settle down, unless you are in a technical skill, or if you're a software engineer, if you're the manager or something like that, it's very difficult. So that's why in BCPNP, if your wage is not good, it'll be very difficult for you to have a competitive score. So you need to understand that if your wage is not good, it'll be very difficult for you to have a competitive score. Then the area matters as well. If the job offer is from Metro, if you're working in the Metro Vancouver Regional District, you get 0 points. Then the other, the areas which is not covered under Area 1, 2, you get 15 points. And if you have regional experience, you get 10 points as well. So let's quickly see the BC PNP draws, the scores that happened recently. So we had a draw, which is today. right? So the skilled worker draw was 131. So that's why I said, and the majority of like UCW candidates, they qualified under this, but getting 131, it's difficult without having a higher wage. So if that's not going to work for you, then we will see what are the other provinces that you can look into later on. But if you are in the childcare, you only need 90 points. So that is a highly attainable score. And if you're in construction, you need 93. Again, that can be done. Healthcare 100 can be done. Veterinary care 80 points can be done. But if you're in a general stream, right now, PCPMP scores are very high. So that means you might have to look for another option. So what are those other options? Let's see. So the occupation, Manitoba occupation specific, they have the occupation specific selections. So from time to time, province of Manitoba, they have draws based on the occupations. So this particular one was done in April 9. So they are the nurse, retail and wholesale trade managers. And if you go down the list, it's like they will decide the occupations from time to time. So the one happened like in my right-hand side, it is basically the healthcare professionals, and you have home child care providers as well. So and then if you go to the Manitoba, again, they have this draw, which happened in October last year. They invited the general trades, right? So, and the minimum score was 610. So the 610 in province of Manitoba is highly attainable. We will go to the points calculation just in few seconds. I just want to show you that they have occupation specific draws. So if you are not getting invitation under Ontario or British Columbia, you have to go and search for the province that will provide you that much needed 600 points or the PR under non-express entry system. So again, skilled work in Manitoba, they had this sales and service supervisors. This is not like a skilled job. They just invited them. So if you are in the right time at the right place, you might get an invitation under Manitoba. So you have to understand, okay, according to my skill set, according to my knowledge, according to my experience, which province has the best program, and then make a comprehensive plan and go for that. No point of just dive wandering and just like no point of like just waiting for the scores to come down to 480s, 460s, 470s, general law. It won't happen. Trust me, it won't happen. So just that you have to be creative and identify the province that works for you. So the good part about the Manitoba, they have even programs where if you have a close relative in Manitoba, right? So then it need not to be like in express entry system, it has to be like your sibling, right? Your brother, sister has to be in Ontario. So it has to be in Canada for you to get those much needed 15 points. But in Manitoba, it has to be a close relative. And that close relative, they have specific draws based on the close relative in Manitoba selection. So if you have somebody, a relative in Manitoba, this might be the draw for you. So if you see the points down, like as I said, the 610 in Manitoba, it's highly attainable because the point system is designed in a way where they only give CLB 8 is the max you need to get the max points. You don't need CLB 9. You don't need CLB 10. CLB 8 is the highest. Even if you get CLB 6, still you can get 80 points because this is per band, right? So then getting 80 points there is not that difficult. And the good part is the age is 21 to 45, where most of us will qualify. We'll get the highest number of points, which is 75, right? So the age is not a problem when it comes to province of Manitoba. Like unless you are above 45, where you lose points at the age of 46, your points will drop to 40. So if you're between 21 and 45, Manitoba age, like the selection criteria is for you. And then if you have work experience, again, they have good, the work experience, they provide up until 4 years or more, 75, and the fully organized by the provincial licensing body, fully recognized by the provincial licensing body. If you're regulated in a trade license, you get 100 points. That can be the deal breaker for you. Then education, master's 125, and if you see even have the post-secondary for 2 years, will give you 100 points, which is not far from the highest point. right? So that's why I'm telling you, like, if you do not have the education, if you are an elderly couple compared to other applicants, Manitoba might be the best bet for you. And they provide for that under the adaptability. They provide, if you have close relative, they provide 200 points. And if you see, the most important factor here is ongoing employment in Manitoba for 6 months or more with a long-term job offer from the same employer will give you 500 points. Remember, one time I showed you, you only need 610. And out of those 610, 500 can be obtained from here. If you have worked in Manitoba for 1 year and the only 6 months, but under the foreign workers scheme, you would need 1 year to get into the expression of interest pool. But if you have 6 months or more and the job offer, this 500 points can itself take you to a provincial nomination. Because anyway, you're going to get like 75 points from here, unless you are above 45, right? And you will have, let's say you get like CLB 5, right? So that is like 68 points, 75 points. And this 500 is more than enough to get you the 610. And right now it's above 700. Even the 700 can be achieved. And as I showed you previously, they are like providing, because there is a labor shortage. That's why the minister has approved 6,700 work permit extensions. So if you're looking for if you are finding it difficult in Ontario, British Columbia, or any other province, if your skill set matches with Manitoba, or if you have a close relative, you can dig deep into Manitoba provincial program. So the next one is the Saskatchewan. Again, very like off late, they did not have draws, but they haven't mentioned a public announcement why they are not having. They might have a big surprise draw somewhere down the line, right? So then the here the good part again is the usual, like the scoring factors, so masters, bachelors, and so on. It is there. Then they provide experience for the number of years. I have a lot of people come to me and say, okay, I'm a financial professional, I have 15 years of age, but in express entry they only give points for 3 years. But in Saskatchewan, they give they give credit for the entire 10 years or so, right? So then within last 5 years you get 10 years, and this last 10 years you get 15. You get this 10 and this 5, that makes you 15, and that can give you the added competitive advantage for others. Again, CLB 8 is the highest one, so you need not to have 9 or 10. CLB 8 will give you 20 points. Then age, again, 22 to 34 will get the highest points of 12. And the 35 to 45 is also not bad. It's just like 2-point decrease from the maximum. Then if you're able to go on there and find a high skill employment offer from Saskatchewan employer, will get you 30 points. And I tell you, this will be the deal breaker. If you go to Saskatchewan and get a high skilled job offer, you have a very good chance of getting an invitation from there. So that's the province of Saskatchewan. And if you go down, then we have this province of Nova Scotia. So Nova Scotia Occupations in Demand is another very famous the provincial nominee program. So here, if you see the occupation in demand stream target specific tier 3, 4, 5. So they are not looking for tier 0, 1, 2. They are looking for 3, 4, 5. So if you go down the list, here you will see light duty cleaners. Anybody can become a light duty cleaner if they have the willingness to do it. So you just need to go there, and then we will go down the requirements in a few minutes. I just want to find out bring it to your notice that the occupations that in demand is light duty cleaners, heavy equipment operators, truck drivers, construction trade helpers, laborers. So these are not highly demand, like the highly skilled jobs, but it is in demand in Nova Scotia. You just need to have 1 year of work experience related to the job, and be 21 and 55, and the most of us are there, and just need a high school diploma, have the appropriate training skill for the job. And the CLB requirement is just 4. So you just need CLB 4, which is highly attainable. Even if you are new, if you're if you're not a fluent like English speaker or French speaker, still you can get CLB 4. It's not that difficult. It's just need a little bit of training. CLB 4 is achievable for anyone. Just need a little bit of like training and just practice, you can get that. Then if you go to the other, like the Newfoundland and Labrador, you can get yourself qualified under express entry. But the good part about that is the Newfoundland, they have a skilled worker stream, which is not express entry. There, they have listed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can be any job offer from a qualified employer. It can be absolutely anything. So it's just that you have to go there and meet find out if the employer qualifies, then you just need a job offer and meet the other requirements. And if you see the age category here, it's 21 and 59. Yeah, right. So that's what. So as I showed you, so the options are available across the country of Canada. It's just that what you need is a little bit of planning. So you need to understand your skill set. You need to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and they make the most of the opportunities. If you're like sometimes, like as I said, if you're good, like if you have the technical skills, like if you're a carpenter, plumber, electrician, then you need not to worry about getting a master's degree or a sell people, whatever. Then you have to be creative and identify the program and go for it. You can become a truck driver, very easy. And if you if you have the skill set, if you have the conceptual skills or the people management skills, then you might have to see, okay, how am I going to get a master's program? Because I see a lot of people come to me and say, okay, we are under the age of 30. My husband didn't study after A-levels. He did not study. So because of him, but he has a skilled job in Canada. He's under the age of 30. So what can we do here? Yeah, what you can do is you enroll for a master's program anywhere in the world. It can be from Sri Lanka. Don't do it here because it's expensive. You do it from Sri Lanka where you will be able to do it like maximum it will cost around 7-8 lakhs, which is like $3,000-4,000. So then that will, even though he does not have A-levels, even though he does not have a diploma, bachelor's, whatever, he will get the second highest points because he has a master's, which is accredited by the educational assessment accepted by Canada, like normally WES, right? So it's just that you're bridging the gap. Just be creative, just planning the future, doing a master's program while staying here from anywhere in the world and get that. So then you bridge that gap. Game over. There is no education gap. So on the other hand, sometimes people say like the people who are like this, especially people who migrate like as international students at the age of 18, 19, 20. So they do not have the foreign work experience. So rather than working for 2 years in Canada, you might be well advised to go back to Sri Lanka, just do 1 year of work experience there and come back. Then you will have the higher score than working 2 years in Canada. Like it's strange, but it is what it is. So you have to identify what needs to be done in your profile, right? So that's very important. So you be thorough with the comprehensive ranking system. It's just very it's absolutely free. Just go there and do the calculations and see, what if I do a master's? What if I get a CLB10? What if I get a LMIA? What if I get a provincial nomination? What if I get a trade certificate? Likewise, you just have to plan ahead. So the options are available. It's just that you need to understand what is right option for you. So hopefully I was able to provide like as much information as possible during this short period, because I know it's a late night. A lot of people are working. So I just want to take you through and provide much information as possible. And I would like to take any questions if there is any. So, and we can later on get into a consultations, and if you need one-on-one. So I'll move to the first one. Yeah. As I know, student is having a low skill job is allowing to get the work permit for spouse valid until end of January. Do you know whether they will extend? So this public policy is introduced back in like the 2023, right? So the January, if you say, I think December 2nd, the federal media release came in. So they might extend this because of the low labor shortages around the country, but don't bank on it. If you are like looking at 2025 PGWP application, just try to see like to be on the safe side, just try to pave your way into a skilled job, because like we don't know whether they're going to extend it on. or not? Because I'm telling you, year 2025 can be year full of surprises because of the general election, right? So then it's better if you have nearly 1 year now, just plan to get a skilled job. If you're unable to do it, you just have to be creative and somehow get this done. Whether they're going to extend or not, we have to wait and see. Because of the labor shortage, there is a high chance of they doing it, but we cannot bank on it because it's a temporary public policy. Right. So the next one, does the main applicant need a full-time job to apply for a spouse open work permit extension after the main applicant got his PGWP? No, you need not to have a full-time job, but a part-time job will do. It's just that you have to demonstrate that you are doing a job and the job duties needs to be demonstrated. And sometimes the immigration officers are a bit like reluctant to give if it is a part-time job, stating that you are not creating the employment, like the you're not creating the economic benefit to the Canada. So if you are able to find a full-time job, go for it. That will be a best bet. But if you do not, like, let's say, I mean, everybody like to have a full-time job, right? But if you're unable to find a full-time job, then in that case, what you can do is you can still go with the part-time, but make sure that you write a proper letter demonstrating the duties and how you're going to have an impact on the Canadian market, job market. So when applying for the spouse open work permit of a student, after how many months should be applied for the visa? There is no strict deadline to apply for the, because like now, most of the times, like most of the people who are like the, like let's say if you take this May intake, so the April in like the completion, majority of the work permits and the study permits are given 3 months only. So if you're completing the program in April, your work permits and the study permit expires in July, right? So you only have 3 months after student completes the program. So what you have to do is they get 3 salary slips. That's the maximum you need. 2 might work, right? If you have only 2, go for it and apply. And once you get the 3rd and 4th, submit through a web form. 2 is a kind of like a minimum. 3 is the maximum you need. So as soon as you get 2 or 3, just go for it. And then if you only apply with 2, make sure you provide the 3 and 4 in a web form. So for sales manager, corporate sales manager, is commission considered as salary? No, in the I think if this depends on which program that you're going to apply, right? So the certain, like for the OINP, they have the wage requirement, hourly wage requirement. For hourly wage requirement, commission is not considered. So it depends on the program, but in general, commission is not hourly wage. How about qualifying as a lawyer and thereby applying for PR? Can we get, yeah, so irrespective of the provision, you can apply under the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program, but just because you're being qualified as a lawyer will not give you any added advantage. Unfortunately, that's what it is, because like you will not get any additional points just because you're a lawyer. Right. So yeah, so the RINP is another good program, right? So if you get the community endorsement, that's a great program. So if anybody is looking to go into a rural program, it's just that you need to plan ahead. Because like if you're going with a family, I had one family who went there like with 2 kids, and then they went to RNIP, targeting RNIP. They couldn't bear the weather. Weather conditions are extreme in those areas. That's why that is called rural. So that's not easy. So you just need to plan and go. If you are planning to go, like don't take like minor kids straight away from British Columbia plus 15 into straight away into Alberta like minus 20. They will fall sick and everything can go wrong from there onwards. It's just that you need to have a plan. If you're a young couple, yeah, why not? But if you're going with a family, a lot of things to consider. But in terms of the program, yes, that is a good program if you're able to get the community endorsement. So what is the best OINP job offer program to go with that does not require LMIA and has the lowest processing time? So in terms of OINP, Job offer streams, we have 3, as I said: foreign worker, international student, in-demand skill. So if you can qualify under any of those, I would say create expression of interest in all 3 if you are able to qualify, right? So then there is in terms of processing, OINP will give like only 14 days for you to submit the application once you get the nomination. So you have to plan ahead. In terms of processing, they say it's 45 to 60 days, but unfortunately, as of now, right now, they are not processing in 60 days. It's around 75, 80 days they're taking to provide the nomination. What is the best PR pathway for early childhood educators and assistants? So as I said, it depends on the province. If you're looking in the certain provinces which is in demand, you can look into British Columbia, because they have the childcare draws, as I showed you, you just need 90. So if you are a qualified early childhood educator, you can look into British Columbia. When it comes to federal level, unfortunately, it is not falling under any of the in-demand categories. So then you have to look, if you're not under the general draw, pre-creative, look at a provincial nomination. Is express entry trade occupations draw and skilled trade draw are separate draws. Skilled trade draws, the earlier, as I said, the express entry is categorized under 3: Canadian experience class, federal skilled workers, skilled trades. But of late, we did not have the skilled trade draw, right? So if you go down to the IRCC website, we did not have any of these draws because they were doing, as I showed, general law, non-program, no program specified programs. So that's why they have introduced this category-based draw. So the category-based draw, they have trade. That is what is functioning right now. But under the express entry, there is a federal skilled trade program, unfortunately, which is not functioning at the moment. And they can start anytime, but it is not functioning right now. What is the best PR pathway for executive housekeepers? So it depends on your profile, to be quite honest, right? So without knowing your profile, I won't be able to advise you, because like your age, education, language capability, and all that plays a pivotal role here. So if you have the comparative score, then you can look into it, because the executive housekeeper, as I said, it's not in demand per se at a federal level, so you might have to look into provincial options. If main applicant doesn't have any kind of work offer letter, what is the possibility to apply PGWP and extend the open work permit for spouse? As I said, it is an absolute requirement that the main applicant has, and in that case, what you can do is you have to find at least a part-time, like going to Tim Hortons, food counter attendant, part-time, just for the sake of getting this work permit done, because it's a prerequisite. You cannot apply without the main applicant has a job offer. Then in that case, the open work permit for the spouse can be denied. So it's better that you find some sort of employment, write a good comprehensive letter, and show how you're going to add value to Canada. Then you will be able to get it. Without that, your application can be rejected. So when applying for express entry, when claiming points for the experience I had in Excel, should that experience and the JD match the experience that JD I'm doing in Canada? Can it be different here in Excel and completely different here in Canada? Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as you're in a skilled trade, you're good. So it can be 2 different tiers. As long as it's tier 0, 1, 2, 3, you can claim points. So see, I have like the HSBC bank managers working in Papa John's as a chef and getting PR. So it's 2 different skill set, 2 different tiers, 2 different trades, but still all counted under express entry. Okay, I applied for student visa in 7th August 2023 and got the visa on 23rd December 2023. I finished my master's back in Excel in month of March 2024, but I have not mentioned that I'm doing a master's when applying for student visa. This is a matter to know. This is to know whether I can mention about the master's when applying for express entry. So if you got your master's in March 2024, and you applied at 7th August 2023, at the time of the application, you did not have master's. So when you fill the form IMM 1295, your highest education qualification, I assume that it should be bachelor's. So there is no issues whatsoever. It is not misrepresentation. You can include your master's because you did not have master's at the time of the application. Hi there. Currently, I'm working as a controller for a car company. I'll get promoted as a general manager of the store. I've been working here for 2 years. Can it be an exempt from LMIA needed job offer? Can I still get the 200 CRS score? Yeah. So whether it can be LMIA needed exemption, no. Unfortunately, it does not fall under any of the LMIA exemptions. But if you are able to demonstrate that if you can get an LMIA, then you can get the 200 points. If you are able to demonstrate that you are a general manager. So the if it is tier 00, as you correctly mentioned, you get the 200 points, but unfortunately that is not covered under LMI exemption. You would need an LMIA. Right. So when we submit express entry profile under CEC, should I gain work experience in Canada on same knock where I worked previously in my home country? So as I think I previously answered this, no, you can. It can be two different tiers. It can be two different NOCs. You can have like the whatever you had back home is not relevant. So when you are like for an instance, like as I said, I gave you the example, the bank manager and becoming a chef here, two different fields. That's kind of like a red flag for the immigration officer. So the burden of proof is on us to prove that these are legitimate jobs. That's all we need to prove. We just have to prove that these are legitimate jobs. We actually did it, but because like they will think, okay, how can bank manager become, because you have no chef related experience or education until you came here. So then all of a sudden you're becoming a chef. So how can it be? But if you can able to demonstrate that, if you're able to demonstrate that it was a genuine job with the notice of assessment T4 and photos or whatever, make a full complete file and put it together, no issues whatsoever. We applied for student and open work permit extensions, but didn't receive any response. Open work permit holder only received temporary extensions. If that expires, what will happen? Shall open work permit holder can work until get the decision? Yes, it's clearly mentioned in the IRCC website. Until the decision is made, you can work. You are in the maintain status, even if it expires, that's totally fine. If you got a positive response, great. If you got a negative response, you have a legal issue. So then you have to consult a lawyer and go for the restoration. And if nothing bad happens, if it goes as normal, and if it gets if you get an approval, no issues, you can work until the decision is made. Yeah, so what is the shortest path to take CLPIP exam? So it's like as I said, so the difference between, you need to understand the difference between IELTS and CLPIP. So what works for like one student might not work for the other. The good part about CLPIP is if you want to get the higher score like CLB 10, which is in IELTS standards, 8.5 for listening, 8 for reading, 7.5 for speaking and writing, which is very difficult. Even a native Canadian speaker might find it difficult to get that score. But in CLPIP, getting CLB 10 is not a miracle. I have seen in my eyes minimum of 25, 30 people doing it. Because out of 12, you just need 10. So, and they are not that strict on writing, which is the bad part about it. So which is the good part about it. The only issue here is when it shift to CLPIP, speaking, you are doing with a computer. There is no human being involved. So then you need to have that sense to keep the tone at the appropriate level and speak. And just because like sometimes people, when you get to like the IELTS exam, you have an invigilator or the examiner with you. So they nod their head. Okay, so that's kind of like a sense of appreciation, or the like kind of like you get a feeling, okay, I'm doing good. But when you're doing it the computer, you don't get that feel. But it's just that you have to make your mind and just do it. If you're able to nail reading and speaking in CLPIP will be your best bet to get CLB 10, in my personal experience. Do you have any suggestions for applicants according to the finance field if you're doing CPA, BC as well? So as I said, the accounting is not in demand per se at a federal or at the OINP or the BC PNP. So you have to seek you have to understand your profile and see whether you are able to get into 520s, 530s. If you're unable to do it, then you have to think how creative I can become and go out of my comfort zone and look at the other options. But unfortunately for accountants, it's like it is definitely a skill job. So you will get points, but it is not in demand. So therefore, you have to rely on the general streams for OINP, OBC, whatever the provincial nominee program or federal stream. Working as CNC setter operator is a good occupation to apply under OINP in demand stream. So it depends on your job duties, right? So you can get in touch with us. We can go through your job duties and see whether it is an in demand. If you are demonstrating in demand skills, of course, it's a good program because as you saw, they have limited occupations. And the good part about it is now from your question itself, I identify you have the language capability. So then these technical skills, people have less language capability. So it's not a requirement. So even if the OINP in demand might not be working, if you are able to qualify under any of the trade streams, you can give it a try there as well. How long will the category-based roles like French profession will last? So unfortunately, nobody knows the answer. But if you see the GCMS notes, which came like the few months ago, like few weeks ago, based on the category-based roles, they are going to continue category-based roles because they have set the targets and they have not met those targets. But in particularly, they might, like now there is a rumor that they will have category plus location-based roles. For an instance, they might have London, this healthcare, Vancouver, trade stream. Likewise, there is a rumor that they're going to do that. So then there will be changes in the category-based roles, but how long it's going to last, unfortunately, nobody knows the answer. But based on the GCMS notes, we can safely assume at least end of this year, it'll be there. Is it okay if I do a contract job which in NOC 1 after my studies? Will I be able to apply for PR? Yes, of course. Just because that you have a contract job, that doesn't mean that it's just like as long as you cover the minimum 30 hours, you can count your experience. And as long as it is not, you are not self-employed, you're good. So you can count experience under that. Does your company process visitor visas, super visas, or parents? Thanks for arranging. Yes, of course we do. We do visitor visas, super visas, and I'm proud to say that we have 100% record on that. Is teaching experience back in Excel counted for past experience when applying for BC PNP childcare category? So BC PNP childcare category, the experience, yes, but the problem is you need to have the childcare, like the related experience. So the only bad part about BC, as I said, the wage needs to be there. In most childcare, they are paid 23, 24, 25, likewise, right? So then if you have a job offer based on the location and all that, we can look into that. So if you can get in touch with us, we'll do a free consultation on one-on-one and understand your situation and advise you like on how to move forward. If the spouse decides to be the main applicant and she wants to pursue like early childhood career, which probably requires her to study, how do you navigate through what the work permit states? Something to the effect, no studying in Canada. Yes. So the government of Canada, now there was a public policy, right? So just Google, now the workers can work to study too. So you don't have any restrictions. So even if it is mentioned in permits, they like announced like a couple of months ago that even the work permit holders can study. As you said, some famous universities in Ontario, such as IBU, is not interested in master's programs for PR. Will IRCC offer them the green light to this university if their full caption requirements? So the IBU, like whoever raised the question, it is considered for PR. We have to get the record straight. It's just that it is not considered for OINP master stream, right? So then you don't need not to worry. You will get the 22 points or the points that you get for masters from IBU. If you do a program, it will still be considered as a Canadian masters. You will get those additional points, but just that OINP, they have mentioned well-known universities, Western, Algoma, the Carlton, and so on. So that doesn't mean that you are disqualified under PR, general PR. It's just that OINP Masters stream, you're not falling under the eligible institutions. For Manitoba Skilled Work Overseas Program, can we apply for that even if you are staying inside Canada? Yes, I mean, you can. Only thing is, if you are like taking employment, if you are like studying, if you have studied in other province, they have minus points for that. So that will work against you. So the unfortunate part about the Manitoba, they have negative points. So if you're in a specific province, let's say you are staying in BC and you're working, you have minus 100. In the points grid, if you go like the points grid that I showed to you, if you go to the bottom, you will see minus 100 for the work experience in another province, minus 100 for education in another province. Yeah. When you say manager in healthcare, could it be even like working as a digital? No. Digital marketing manager is not, right? So the if you Google the NOC code, the healthcare managers, you will see it removes the healthcare technical aspects. Just becoming a digital marketer in the hospital will not work. So but you can see how you can, because it will based on your the job duties as well. So as I said, just you can deeply go through the NOC for healthcare managers and see whether you can pitch in some of the duties and make it appear that you are falling in then under under that NOC. A mere fact that, let's say, for the literal meaning, digital marketer is not a healthcare manager. If you have 1 year experience in Canada in one knock, can we change the knock while putting the file in express entry as a new job just started? Yes, of course. You can, as I think I've answered this question previously, you can do this it doesn't matter if you have, once you have 1 year experience, that will be counted. If you go to another knock, you will continue to collect Canadian experience. I was an engineer related to telecommunication sector, but it is not listed in the STEM jobs, but engineer managers are available. Can I apply through it? So it depends whether you are able to demonstrate the managerial responsibilities, which is required under the engineering managers. So again, it has to be closely, your job duties close to be evaluated with the NOC code, specific job duties, but you are not far, right? So then it's the 1 or 2 duties can get your NOC under that. So you just need to properly evaluate and see whether you can come up with those duties. If you're able to come up with that, then you can claim points there under STEM. Okay, my wife is a student and working tier 2 category, but I have a master's. And if I go for trade occupational job, is there any possible to get the PR in Ontario? Absolutely. So if you go to trade, Ontario has a trade program, specific trade program, and Ontario has the federal trade program is also is there, and you have a master, so that means you're going to get higher points, right? So as I showed you, trade is like the requirement is less, but you have to be mindful of the fact that trade in some trades, for an, as I said, electrician, it's not easy to become like electrician in Ontario or anywhere in Canada. So it takes time for you to get that, right? So, but if you like think of another trade like carpenter, then that might be feasible. Can we apply multiple PNP programs like submitting multiple expression of interest in different provinces? Some provinces do restrict this, some provinces don't, right? So then you have to be very careful of like because they have the question, have you ever applied for any other province? Once you have, and you say yes, then you become disqualified under some provinces. So it depends on the provinces. Again, get in touch with us. We can see what are your interested provinces, and we can take it from there. So if we get a job offer from Manitoba while studying in Ontario, can we qualify for PR before completing studies? No. So that's not going to happen, because like you need to go there and you need to work there. So just the job offer will not work if we closely go through their requirements, right? So you would realize that you need to have Manitoba experience. Just mere fact that having a student job offer will not help. While we are in the process of PR, my passport expired. Could it be a problem? Could you please give an idea? So if your passport expires, if your process, because like the PR is not stamped on a passport, that's the good part about it. You will, if you're inside Canada, you will get a document called confirmation of PR. But then if you do not have a valid passport, so that means you do not have a valid travel document. So you're well advised to get your passport renewed and submit to Express Entry, right? So just send a web form, get it renewed, because like you would not have a valid travel document. Fund requirements, a general law does not need to be net worth. Do we need to declare liabilities? Absolutely not. So if you have same bank, right? So a lot of people do not know this, right? So if you are inside Canada, if you're working and you have a full-time job offer, you need not to demonstrate funds, right? If you are invited under Canadian experience class, you need not to demonstrate funds. So if neither of those applies to you, still you can apply. But let's say, like if you show in a one bank statement, 20,000 assets, 5,000 liabilities. So then in that case, the immigration officer knows that you actually don't have 20,000. You only have 15,000. But if you put it in different banks, let's say TD Bank, you have your credit card 5,000, RBC, you have 20,000 savings, then they wouldn't know that. They go and ask TD how much you owe, right? But if you show in one paper, then they can come to a conclusion you actually don't have 20,000, you only have 15,000. How can we do one-on-one consultant? Are there any charges for this? No, absolutely. I myself, as a Sri Lankan lawyer, I've tried to help as many Sri Lankans as possible and contribute to the community. So the consultations will be, I have never charged anybody, any Sri Lankan, a penny for consultation. So I just want, you can get in touch with my team. It's then we can have one-on-one consultation. It will be absolutely free. Is it true that you don't need work experience to apply for a student stream under YNP where you will only need a job offer? That is true, absolutely true. So the only thing is, if you have worked for that particular employer, you will get additional 3 points, right? So and then and if you have for more than 6 months, you get additional 3 points. And if you have earnings, again, you get another 3 points. But it's not a requirement for you to work for the employer. You need to have a full-time permanent indefinite work job offer. You need not to have work experience for that employer under international student stream. We have 45 plus couple visiting here. Do we have a chance for PR if we find qualifying for OINP? The problem for this is OINP, age is not a factor. So that's the good part about it. Age is not a factor, whether you're 45 or whatever. Age is not in the points guide, the age is not there. So if you're able to find it depends on what you're going to sign, because if you're 45, if you're visiting, then international student stream is out. So you have only 2 options, foreign worker stream or in demand stream. So if you're able to get points under that, you can get a job offer and your employer is willing to support you, you can give it a try there. Right. So how do we contact us? Yeah. So we'll put it to the chat, and then I'll ask my team to whoever registered with us will get the email with the details on how to contact us, and you can go to our social media, and our numbers and emails are there, so you can contact us. While I'm in the PR process, if my PGWP is expired, would it be a problem? Can I stay in Canada until I get a response? So when you say while I'm in PR process, if you have received an invitation to apply and your application is, you have submitted the application, then you can apply for a work permit called Bridging Open Work Permit. But if you are not received an invitation, you are just in the Express Entry pool, then you cannot extend your work permit. But if you have received an invitation, get the acknowledgement of receipt, AOR, commonly known as, and apply for Bridging Open Work Permit. Make sure you do it properly without no mistakes whatsoever, because once you apply for BOWP, Bridging Open Work Permit, and if it gets rejected, you will be out of status. So make sure you apply for BOWP for the main applicant, and if there's a spouse involved, you can still apply for a spouse open work permit based on the BOWP. And but you need to have an invitation and submit documents and received AOR for BOWP. To apply under trade occupations category, I worked under NOC 72106 for 12 months and work in another stream now. Can I still apply in trade occupations? Yes, because they would need 6 months within last 3 years under the general category trade, right? So if your 1 year experience is within 3 years, you can apply. Are we getting any additional points for doing Knock B job under general stream? Is it mandatory requirement to do Knock B category job, both applicants and the spouse when apply? It is not mandatory, but the the skill jobs can add value, right? So if you're applying with spouse, 1 year of Canadian experience will give you 35 points, right? So then if you're not the main applicant, still you can add points like 5 points to your main applicant score if you have skill job and work experience 1 year in Canada. So then it is advisable to have it. But yeah. Does the student needs to have a job in Canada to apply for spouse open work permit? So the if you're talking about the student applying for spouse open work permit who's back in Sri Lanka, no, you need not to have a job. You just you need to demonstrate that you're a genuine student who's currently studying in Canada. But if you're talking about the PGWP stage, yes, you need to have a job offer. Can you do the online 1-year master's degree program during we study in the postgraduate diploma in Canada? Can we enter the MA qualification? Absolutely. I mean, you can do that. So that's like you're one wise man. You're just planning ahead, and you can definitely get the score for master's you qualified outside. What is the probability of getting LMIA for bookkeeper? My company is fully supportive. Yes, it depends on the location and the number of applications you get, right? So because you have to basically demonstrate that there is no qualified Canadian permanent resident or a citizen. So the areas like, let's say, Scarborough, if you put a bookkeeper, you get invitations like applications like sometimes in hundreds, right? So if you get like it's best how you market that. If you put it in Indeed, you get 100. So then you have to find somebody who knows the art, and then like it's just that like if your employer cannot demonstrate that they have like taken all the steps to hire and the Canadian citizen or permanent resident, LMIA can be denied. But if they can demonstrate that, then still you can get an LMIA for bookkeeper. If you go to the job bank, you can see like there are thousands of bookkeeping occupations which is designed for the LMIA. I'm a student who recently came to Canada, started my higher education in April here in Toronto. I would like to know whether I can apply for PR even though I am a student still. Under work category as a truck driver with 6 months experience. Whatever the experience that you gain under student permit will not be counted, unfortunately, right? So then you will not be able to get the credit for those work experience. But if you can somehow get the license and all that and be ready, once you complete your studies, as soon as you apply for PGWP, go for it. Then within 6 months, you can apply under transportation category. To be eligible as a full-time job, that means we have to work minimum of 30 hours per week. Since we get pay stubs bi-weekly, can I do 25 1 week, 35 next week, which makes it 60 hours in the pay stub? If there is a possibility, can I do this when applying for spouse open permit extension, also when applying for PR? Yes, of course, right? Because the pay stub, if you're getting in 2 weeks, like normally the IRCC requirement is 30 hours, and they have counted this 1,560 by multiplying 30 hours into 52. So if you do not have 30 hours in 1 week, you will lack that 5 hours. In your example, you have mentioned 25. So then if you have that particular week, you will not have the 30 hours. So then you will not complete the 1,560. But as you said, if the salary slips are there, then it's like it demonstrates that you have worked on average 30 hours. If they like highly unlike the IRCC will take every week and say, okay, first week of July 25, second week of July 35, they won't go like that. They will go by the salary slips, if anything. So if it depends on the letter that you submit, the work reference letter with your PR application. If they say you're a full-time employment or you work 30 hours on average, you're good. I'm going to apply for PGWP next week. I already got the job offer, which is going to start end of this month. Can I use that job offer to extend my spouse open work permit? As I said, if you're applying for PGWP next week, don't apply with spouse. You apply first and get this 1 or 2 salary slips, then apply for spouse. Don't take a risk of applying together. Recently, there is an announcement about BC 3 new streams, bachelor's, master's, doctorate. Will it be point-based or all masters will be applicable for PNP? So it's like they have announced that, but they have not provided any comprehensive knowledge on it. We are expecting it to have probably this week or early next week. So just we are expecting it to just masters might be enough, expecting it to be like that. But because that's the main purpose of government introducing this new stream, but we have to wait for instructions from their end. If the dependent fly back to SL before the decision of the work permit extension received, will it be a problem when applying for PR? Right. So there are two questions here. Will it be a problem for when applying for PR? No. The dependent will be considered as outside Canada applicant. So then he will not get the ECOPR. He have to go through the normal traditional COPR process. Then will it be a problem when coming to Canada? If his temporary resident visa is expired, yes. If his temporary resident visa is not expired, it won't be a problem. That means the passport sticker. We have to go and check the passport sticker. If it is valid, you're good. If it is not valid, go and extend that first. Then you try to come inside Canada. YNP trade stream, trek draw. We don't need to apply specifically, right? Just need to open the express entry profile. Yes, you just need to have the express entry profile. So that's basically it. So just one check. Right. Okay. Yeah. So we'll go to the next question. Right. If I work as an accountant in Manitoba, can I apply through Manitoba PNP? Yes, of course. So you can. So you have to see whether you qualify under the other if you have the other requirements. Yes, you can get apply under Manitoba PNP because it's a skilled job. My husband just got a permanent job in banking sector, and I'm the student, which will expire this year. Is there any possibility to secure my visa status through my husband's status rather than enrolling to another study program not offering PGWP? So that question is slightly confusing. So whether your current program is not offering PGWP or whether you are going for another program for PGWP, that's slightly confusing. But just to if based on the fact that your husband has a job offer, that does not give you the right to extend your visa, right? Because you are the main applicant under student visa. So if you are talking about the program where the PGWP you're not eligible, then that's a problem. But again, you can get in touch with us. We can deeply go through the issue and advise you in a much more prudent manner when we understand your situation properly. I applied for kids visitor visa extensions while applying for PGWP. My PGWP got approved, but kids has only received an acknowledgement of submission, which doesn't mention any valid date until which is valid. Do I need to raise them? No. So she's only 4.5 years, right? So okay. So she will not get because when you get the PGWP, you get a document called PGWP EXT letter. That is like the work permit extension letter, which is work authorization letter that you will get to work even when you apply. But for study permits or visitor visas, you don't get that because you don't get authorization letters. Just the submission confirmation is what you get. So you're good. So until they make a negative decision on your application, your children are very they're good, so they can continue to stay in Canada. SPNP, what is the high skill job offer that gives 30 points? Is it no? So it's not the high skill. That's not the 0, 0. It's the skill jobs. Tiers 1, 2, 3, right? So you have to go to the program and see what kind of a job offer that you get. As long as it's skilled, you're good. Can't we apply for NL-PNP worker category if we are in PGWP? So that depends on which one you're going to apply. There are restrictions in the Newfoundland program. So again, if you can get in touch with us, we can dive into that. Do we need to show funds under the In-demand skill stream, OINP value in Canada? No, you're not. You don't have to. So the you just said if the applicant spouse is doing NOC-B job, we get 35 points. But when we calculate the CRS in CRA website, okay, it doesn't ask anywhere whether we are doing a NOC-B job. Does that mean we need to add the additional 25 points? No, no, no. CRS calculator is an inbuilt program, right? So the if you go down, right, so after your questions, your spouse questions will come up. So they will ask whether I can quickly show you that, right? So just go to this. Which one was that? Okay, 1 second. I think we went through this here, right? Here it'll ask, in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada does your spouse have? Tier 0, 1, 2, 3. So NOC-B means in normal terms, it's tier 2. So you are given points here. You don't need to manually add it. There is no manual additions. CRS is an inbuilt system. So if your spouse has a 1 year of tier 2 experience, you can get 1 point. But since if your spouse is not the main applicant, you will not get the 35. You will only get 5. But if your spouse become the main applicant, then you have to add points here just after the language. In last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience you have in Canada? So then when you go 1 year here, you get the 35 points. If your spouse is the secondary applicant, you don't get the 35. As an accountant back in Sri Lanka following MBA, I can study ECE assistant and become an ECA, go back to BCPNP. Yes, you can. So as long as you can become a registered early childhood educator, you can qualify under that. So just the mere fact that you become you are an accountant and you have an MBA, that does not qualify. As long as you can become a registered Canadian registered educator, you're good. Are we getting 50 additional points if we complete provincial license like HLLQP? To be honest, I have no idea what is HLLQP is, right? So again, you can get in touch with us. We can go through because the abbreviation is not familiar to me. After studying in Ontario, can we move to a different province to apply PR? Of course, you can move to any province. And some provinces like Manitoba, they have points reductions for that, but that does not prevent you from applying for PR and the provincial nomination outside Ontario. In terms of applying for spouse open work student just started the studies without spouse, how long should the student wait before applying for? Okay, there is no time restrictions on that. As long as you can prove that you are enrolled in the particular program, right? So the IRPR's LMI exemption code C4142 will give you the right to apply for your spouse. You don't have to wait for like 1 month, 2 months, nothing. Just you have to prove that you're a genuine student, attach your study permit, a visa stamp, letter of enrollment, letter of acceptance. That's it. My MBA will be breezy. Will that add points for Manitoba PNP? So yeah, so under the general stream, the Manitoba points, right? They are not restricting it for masters in Manitoba only. I'm working in Tim Hortons GTA and currently I'm a student finishing my studies in August. Can I apply with Tim offer letter for PR when my PGWP applied? Are there any possible way? So the Tim Hortons, it depends on the skill that you have, right? So whether the job position that you have and the work experience gained as a student, as I said, it's not counted. It's not counted. Once you apply for PGWP and if you continue to work in Tim Hortons, if it is in a skilled occupation, you can count that experience. But work experience as a student will not be you will not be able to get score there. By end of December, I will complete my MBA at UCW. How to get the job offer from Manitoba and apply for PGWP? How that time gap works. So if you are complete your MBA, what you can do is you can towards if December 2024, probably around October, November, you can start applying for jobs, right? So because you can mention obviously you will be a student, you cannot start a job, but you can you have to be mindful of the period that you're applying, right? So January, specifically in Alberta, Manitoba, slow months because of these high winter periods, right? But you can technically stay without applying for PGWP for 180 days if you decide not to work. So if you decide to move to Manitoba, make the move, go there, because you are technically protected for 180 days. Then unless your study permit before study permit expires, which is like probably in 3 months, but in UCW, since they can do this, the fast track, you can still have more time. So unless your study permit is expired, you can hold on to PGWP application as long as you do not work. So once you get the employment, then you apply from Manitoba. What if the spouse doesn't have a job when applying for PGWP extension and the spouse doesn't have a job will not be a requirement, right? So it's just that whether you have a job. So as I said, like here, he showed you, right? So okay, this one, the requirement is, all right, so the principal foreign worker requirements. Principal foreign worker means you need to have a job. They're not mentioning anything about your spouse having a job. If you have a job, then you're good. So the spouse having a job, then they would question, okay, why would we give a work permit for somebody who has no job whatsoever? So then you have to write in an explanation saying that the reason why it's not having a job and how we are planning to get a job. So statutorily, your spouse need not to have a job because it's you who needs to have a job, but the spouse not having a job has to be justified to have a smoother application process. Do we need to show any kind of proof of funds when applying for PGWP? Absolutely not needed. While student in the PGWP process, if the dependent open work permit expired, will it be a problem for the dependent? If you have not lodged the application for the defendant, yes, of course, he cannot legally work. If he has lodged the application, he can continue to work until the decision is made on the application. Is there any English language requirement to trade occupants category-based roles? Yes, the point system it's given in a way where you will get the score for English language, right? So the trades, as I showed you, the requirements are like very less, but still you have to demonstrate. So let me quickly show you that as well, right? So okay, 1 second. Okay. Right, so it comes to trades, right? So the federal skilled trades, speaking and listening, CLB 5, reading and writing, CLB 4. Does my accounting experience while studying in local CA and BSc count towards the FSW experience? There was a question on your profile asking me to enter graduation date when I first became qualified for the role. It depends on what kind of a role that you're doing, right? So if you have demonstrated accountant, right? Accounting and auditors, which requires you to have the experience for you to become an accountant. That can be like taken as a negative and the red flag for the immigration officer, but still you can count the experience as long as you can demonstrate that you have the capability to perform those duties. If you're currently working as an accountant, if you do not meet the majority of the JD and qualifications required in accounting, can you apply an accounting technician category? Yeah, so the accounting technician and bookkeeping is the subcategory for the accountants 12200. That's like if you are able to demonstrate duties, still it is a skill category. You are safe under federal system as well as BC system. I have 1 year work experience holding an LMI. If I to apply for the federal express entry, which stream is the best? Either federal skilled worker or Canadian experience. Right now, we don't have a choice. We cannot pick and choose whether we are going to apply under federal skill, whether we are going to have Canadian experience. Once you create the profile, your score will be there. And if you're qualified at both the streams, both will be there. So in case they have an only Canadian experience class, you are invited there. Only federal skilled workers, still you are invited there because you qualified under both streams. We don't have a choice when you're creating under express entry, whether we are going to under FSW or CICC. You just create it and then you're good because you'll be covered on both. About spouse not having a job when student applying for SW, what if the spouse having a part-time? Okay, I think I previously answered this. The part-time, will that be okay, and will that too need a letter of? Yes, of course, letter of explanation is needed. But you don't need to demonstrate like as I said, in the statutorily they are not talking about a full-time job, but you have to see the economic benefits. So it depends on the scenario. So sometimes when trying to write those letters also, you have to be very careful. You don't need to give too much of information. If you are like, if she's working 28, 29 hours, that you're good. But if she's working 15 hours, in the salary slip it shows 15 hours, then you have a problem. So it's based on the number of hours and the other factors as well. So currently I'm on the implied status, already applied for PGWP, but I still was not able to find a job. Our visa will expire in 1 week, the first week of June. In that case, what should I do if I won't be able to get a job by that time in order to extend? Okay, so I think I previously answered that as well. So you have to find some job to apply for your spouse visa. It need not to be a skilled job, but you would need some sort of a job to apply for spouse open work permits. At least, like as I said, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, wherever it may be, just find some sort of a job and apply for spouse open work permit, because without a job, statutorily, you are not protected. So I think that's about it. So I'll ask my team to get in touch with you. So if you need one-on-one consultations, we can schedule a time and we can discuss your questions. And the other thing, whatever that so what I want to tell you as a fellow Sri Lankan, just don't get frustrated just because you don't have these high scores. Just be creative and just identify the right path for you. Then and then you will be able to nail this. So just get in touch and we will be more than happy to help you. And on top of that, whether you go from us, whether you go from somebody else, whether you go from another lawyer or a consultant, just you need to do your, you need to have an idea. Okay, what are my skills? Because nobody else would know better than you. So just have a self-reflection, just plan the process, and then I wish you all the very best. And if you need any help from our end, we are more than happy to help you. So thank you for joining, and good night from the Marshall's team. Have a we'll speak soon if needed. Good night.